Hi there. Welcome to day 4 of my 30-day talking to a camera challenge. I want to apologize for the hissing noise that is at the beginning of these videos. Apparently it's a thing that sometimes it happens with iPhones. I've looked up possible tips on fixing it. Nothing seems to work, like going in the settings and camera settings and changing the record in stereo sound. I don't have that option on my iPhone, so I couldn't turn it off. Apparently that works with some people, but not so much with me. So we will carry on though. So today's topic, I'll be talking about The Book of Delights by Ross Gay. I don't plan on becoming a booktuber, but I love books. Now and then I'll be talking about books, particularly the ones that resonate with me, and this one I read possibly a few years ago, and it certainly resonated with me. That's a delight with that crinkly kind of noise coming from the book protective covering. I got this from the library. Speaking of delights. So what is this book about? Ross gave himself the project of starting on his birthday, every day noticing delights, and in particular, like he would pick out one delight, write an essay on it, preferably by hands rather than typing computer. And this is the result of that project. And I do want to read, some parts here and there from the project. Like in the preface, I liked how he said this, that about how noticing delights expanded. So it says here in the preface, it didn't take me long to learn that the discipline or practice of writing these essays occasioned a kind of delight radar. Or maybe it was more like the development of a delight muscle, something that implies that the more you study delight, the more delight there is to study. Pretty cool. A month or two into this project, delights were calling to me, write about me, write about me. And so he wrote about them. And he says that he skips some days now and then, and this book has 102 chapters, or 102 essays. So clearly not 365 of all the days. These are pretty short. I mean, this is a small book anyway, so sometimes these are 2 pages, 3 pages, and they run the gamut. That it's one of them, he gets a high five from a stranger in a coffee shop. Another one, he sees a praying mantis on a cafe table, an outdoor cafe table. A couple of the other ones I want to emphasize that really kind of resonated with me are he's in an airport and he's feeling anxiety and he's walking around listening to Stevie Wonder's song Come Back as a Flower, presumably on headphones, I'm guessing. And he's walking around and he notices these 4 women in uniform. They're sitting on some steps, and he thinks they might be kiosk workers. And they're just chatting, and one of the women reaches over and arranges, and I'll read this, another woman's collar beneath her sweater, freeing it from the cardigan's neck, using both of her hands to jostle it free, but also seeming to spend a little more time than necessary, creasing the fold of the collar, the other hands kind of resting on her shoulder. The two of them chatting the whole time, sitting there holding each other, nodding. I just thought that, that kind of everyday small act of kindness among friends, it affected Ross Gay in a moment where he was feeling anxious at the airport. And to me, it was just, I thought it was just a delight. Of course, I could have come up with a better word than that, but I mean, it was low-hanging fruit. It's right there. So another one I want to highlight in this the book is a short essay, just those 2 pages, not even full pages, and it talks about the forest and trees, and how there exists in the roots in the mycelium. That's a awesome sounding word. How nutrients are shared back and forth. Where often the ill or weak or stressed are supported by the strong and surplus. So, look, for example, if one tree needs nitrogen and a nearby tree has extra nitrogen, the hyphae, Hyphae, I'm spelling it because I'm not familiar with that word, the fungal ambulances ferry it over, constantly. This tree to that to this. So it's like a kind of a back and forth helping each other. And the last paragraph in this essay, it's a bit of a long paragraph, so bear with me, a little patience. And yes, I know I'm reading from the book, and I know this is meant to be a talking to camera challenge, so I really am talking to the camera, but I'm not entirely doing it off the cuff here because I'm reading, which is, it's a crutch, but this stuff is really good stuff. So the last paragraph in this essay, because in trying to articulate what, perhaps, joy is, it has occurred to me that among other things, the trees and the mushrooms have shown me this, joy is the mostly invisible, the underground union between us, you and me, which is, among other things, the great fact of our life and the lives of everyone and thing we love going away. If we sink a spoon into that fact, into the duff between us, we will find it teeming. It will look like all the books ever written. It will look like all the nerves in a body. We might call it sorrow, but we might call it a union, one that, once we notice it, once we bring it into the light, might become flower and food, might be joy. Woo, that's some good stuff. So, like I said, this made an effect on me, and I think what an amazing project of noticing delights, and it inspired me to, I don't do it every single day, I don't write essays, but as far as opening my eyes more to the things around us that are already there, that I may have become so used to them, so accustomed to them, that they're just in the background. But I can pay closer attention, with, say, the trees. No stranger gave me a high five today, unfortunately, but the possibility is there. The dogs I saw, I went on a walk today. The dogs I saw, the birds I heard, those things are already there, and paying attention to them and acknowledging them of, hey, I don't have to let negativity, always be there. It's nice to give space to those things that are positive, and those carry a lot of weight. So that being said, let's do a drawing here. And by let's, I mean that's draw if you wish. Join in the fun. And I did mention birds, saw birds, heard birds. So we're going to do a bird today. I know I did a bird yesterday in part of my drawing. The bird was up here, perhaps on its way to the library. We can either have evidence for or against that bird on its way to the library. But this bird will be staying put on a branch for a moment at least, until it flies off. So let's first draw. You see this? Try to line it up, all right? The branch as a diagonal. Let's do a little fork for fork in the branch, a little visual interest. And here's a spoon on the branch. Make a little humor in there. And so we have, let's get some feet for this bird. Yeah, it's a pretty big bird. Swoop it in. See that right? smiling. It's a little unsure of itself, but you know. Some feathers down here. Tail feathers. Oops. You know, I'm not going for perfection here. Yeah, the feather crossed in front of the branch. But go over some areas, emphasize that. And bringing in a color pencil. I'm here in Maryland, so we love our Orioles here. Let's do some coloring on the body. You get the picture, right? And some, what is this? Tuscan red. I didn't find any black in the colored pencil grouping, but do that. Let's get back some more of this orange. Beautiful orange. A little cross hatching. I do love me some cross hatching. Back to this. Anyway, you get the idea. He may be a little high up on the page, but he's there. So thank you for joining me on another video. I hope you have a wonderful day.